In 1999, Petey Shelburne walked into an old antique shop holding a small toy monkey that played the drums. He wanted to get rid of it. No, he needed to. Something about it felt evil. But before he could do anything, the monkey started drumming on its own. Suddenly, things in the shop shifted. A harpoon gun displayed on the wall fired on its own, striking the shop owner right in the stomach. Blood spilled everywhere. Petey could only stare in horror. And then he was gone, vanished without a trace. His wife, Lois, was left alone to raise their twin sons, Hal and Bill. Years passed. One day, the boys found the monkey hidden in their father's old belongings. It looked strange, its little glassy eyes almost watching them. Hal turned its key just to see what it would do. That night, while they were at a hibachi restaurant, the monkey started drumming again on its own. Across town, their babysitter, Annie, leaned over a railing, lost her balance, and fell. Something sharp caught her neck on the way down. In one quick, horrible moment, her head came clean off. As they grew older, Bill became the stronger, more confident twin. He bullied Hal, making him feel weak and helpless. One day, after taking enough of his brother's torment, Hal found the monkey again. Angry, he wound the key, hoping just for a second that it would make Bill go away. But the monkey didn't work like that. Instead, it drummed, and a few moments later, their mother collapsed in the kitchen, clutching her head. She was dead before she hit the floor. A sudden aneurysm. Hal was crushed with guilt. He destroyed the monkey, ripped it apart, threw the pieces away. But it didn't matter. No matter what they did, the monkey always came back. When they moved to Casco, Maine, to live with their Aunt Ida and Uncle Chip, the monkey reappeared. Hal was terrified, but Bill was fascinated. He wound the key again. That night, Chip was trampled to death by a stampede of wild horses. The brothers knew they had to stop it for good. They locked the monkey in its box and threw it down an old well, praying that no one would ever find it again. 25 years passed. Hal tried to move on, but he couldn't. He barely saw his son, Petey, because deep down, he was afraid that the monkey would return and take him too. Now, his ex-wife wanted her new husband to adopt Petey, cutting Hal out of his son's life forever. Then the deaths started again. First, Aunt Ida gone in an instant. Then, more freak accidents. A woman exploded in a motel pool after it became electrified. A shotgun fell from a shelf and fired on its own, blowing a real estate agent to pieces. The pattern was clear. Then Hal got the phone call. Bill had the monkey again. He had spent years waiting for this moment, convinced that Hal had been responsible for their mother's death. He had even hired a local man named Ricky to pull the monkey out of the well. Now, Bill was testing it, winding the key, watching people die, waiting for Hal to be next. But Hal never was. Instead, random people kept dying. That's when Bill realized the secret: whoever winds the monkey's key is safe. Bill gave Hal a choice. Either Petey would wind the key himself to stay safe, or Bill would keep winding it, again and again, until Hal finally died. It didn't matter how many people had to go first. Ricky, obsessed with the monkey, forced Petey at gunpoint to take it from Bill's house. Bill made Petey win the key. The monkey began to drum, and in the next moment, Ricky screamed as a swarm of wasps attacked him, stinging him over and over until he collapsed, lifeless. Hal rushed in, desperate to stop everything. Bill, completely lost in his obsession, tried to force the monkey to drum without winding the key. That's when everything went wrong. The monkey took over. Its tiny hands pounded the drums wildly. People screamed as chaos exploded through the town. Cars crashed. Fires erupted. People were crushed, electrocuted, torn apart by freak accidents, one after another. Finally, Bill stopped fighting. He looked at Hal, all the anger gone from his face. After all these years, he saw the truth. It was never Hal's fault. It was never his choice. The monkey had always been in control. Then, with one last drumbeat, Bill's head snapped to the side. A bowling ball, covered in dust, rolled off a high shelf. The name Lois was written on it. The heavy ball slammed into Bill's head, and just like that, he was gone. Hal and Petey drove through the wreckage of the town, silent. They understood now. The monkey belonged to them. And as long as they never wound the key again, the deaths would stop. As they drove, they saw something on the road. A man on a pale horse. His skin was sickly white, his eyes pure black. He didn't speak. He only watched as they passed. A warning. A sign of what they had become. Hal looked at his son. He had been too afraid to love him fully, but that fear was gone now. He thought of Lois, of her kindness, of the things she loved. He suggested they go dancing, something she would have loved. Petey thought about it for a moment. Then he smiled and agreed. As they drove past a school bus full of cheerleaders, laughter filled the air. Then, in a flash, a truck sped past. A brutal impact. The bus kept rolling. But the cheerleaders? Their heads were gone. The monkey's curse wasn't over. And maybe it never would be.